Hello and welcome to the day ahead. It is Monday, the 31st of March. I'm Andrew Gagan. Well, the local market is set to open sharply lower this morning, with ASX futures down more than 1.1%. This follows a broad-based sell-off on global equity markets on Friday as investors prepare for President Trump's tariff plan due to be revealed on Tuesday. Wall Street stocks ended sharply lower on Friday, led by megacap tech stocks on renewed inflation fears, with a measure of underlying prices increasing the most in more than a year. The volatility index rose to a one-week high. And the S&P 500 on track for its first quarterly decline in 6 quarters, while the Nasdaq is set for its biggest quarterly drop since 2022. Inflation and tariff concerns sent shares lower on Wall Street as the most valuable companies were tumbling there. Apple, Microsoft, Amazon among the worst performers. The gold miners, though, rallied on higher bullion prices related to trade war concerns. Shares of Lululemon plunged after the sportswear maker lowered its annual forecast, citing unpredictability surrounding tariffs. And Nvidia-backed CoreWeave shares closed flat after the opening below their offer price on the Nasdaq debut on Friday, giving the AI infrastructure firm a valuation of $23 billion. US consumer spending rebounded a less than expected 0.4% in February, with spending at non-profit institutions plunging almost 16% amid the Trump administration's efforts to downsize the government. And stagflation fears have increased, with the February PCE, a measure of underlying prices, increasing by the most in 13 months, rising 2.5%, matching January's rise. Stripping out the volatile food and energy components, the core PCE rose 0.4%. Meanwhile, consumers' 12-month inflation expectations soared to their highest level in nearly 2.5 years in March to 5%. Well, US Treasury yields tumble on Friday as investors assess the likely impact on economic growth from President Trump's tariffs combined with rising inflation. The yield on the 10-year note fell around 11 basis points to 4.25%, and the 2-year was down to 3.9%. And the US dollar weakened on growth concerns ahead of the planned announcement by President Trump on reciprocal tariffs. The Aussie dollar is trading at 62.9 US cents. And Bitcoin has fallen back to around 82,500 US dollars. Oil prices fell on Friday on concerns that a trade war could spark a global recession. Brent crude futures 0.5% lower at $73 a barrel. Copper was up slightly, iron ore little changed at 104 US dollars a tonne. And gold surged to another record on Friday as investors flocked to the safe haven asset amid fears of a global trade war. US gold futures up 0.8% to $3,114 an ounce. Ahead locally this week, we get the Melbourne Institute inflation gauge for March today, along with private sector credit. Tomorrow, the Reserve Bank reveals its interest rate decision. And we also get retail trade data and building approvals for February. Thursday, the RBA's Financial Stability Review is released, along with job vacancies and the international trade balance for February. And on Friday, household spending. Overseas, China's PMIs today, and tomorrow the Caixin Manufacturing Index for March. Tuesday, President Trump is due to outline his reciprocal trade plans. Also on Tuesday, US job openings for February are released along with the ISM Manufacturing Index. Thursday, the US ISM Services Index and trade balance. And Friday, US non-farm payroll numbers, and Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaks. That's your week ahead. See you again tomorrow.